Hi guys, today we're going to be doing some review for our math lesson. It's been a little while since we've been in school and I just want to make sure that you still remember how to do some of these things. So it's going to kind of lead us into the next lesson. So for our first problem here, we're going to be trying to write 8/6 as a number bond. And so remember, to do that, we need to determine how many sixths make up a whole or equal 1. So what would our numerator be? That would be 6. Okay, so that equals 1 whole, just a reminder. So then we ask ourselves how many sixths would be remaining if we took those 6 sixths out. And the difference here between 8 and 6 is 2. So we know that we would have 2 sixths left. Okay, so if we took our number here and wrote it as a mixed number, we would be looking at our whole here, or our 6 sixths, and our 2 sixths. So that would be equal to 1 and 2 sixths. Okay, so if we were asked to write that number as a mixed number or do it as a number bond, that is how we would do it. All right, next up, I'm going to give you a couple of fractions, and we're going to look at the relationship between these fractions. So we're going to have 2 sixths, 3 sixths, and 5 sixths. So I want you to take a minute. What is the relationship between these numbers? Okay, so is there a number sentence or multiple number sentences that we could write that would make this true? So yes, we could say that 2 sixths plus 3 sixths equals 5 sixths. See how I used all of these numbers from up here to write a number sentence? I could also flip these, right? Because we know with addition that we can change these fractions around and they're still going to equal 5 sixths. Doesn't matter which number's first. All right, now that I've shown you a couple, is there another one that you could think of, another number sentence that would make this true? Yep, so you can also say 5 sixths and then use subtraction, right? And we could say 2 sixths. So 5 sixths minus 2 sixths equals 3 sixths. Okay, and then the other way, right? 5 sixths minus 3 sixths is 2 sixths. Okay, any of those are true. So see that relationship between those numbers? Great. All right, now let's do a little bit of some subtraction because that's where we're going to be getting into with our next lesson here. So let's say that we're given 1 whole and we're asked to subtract 3/8 from it. Would equal what? Okay, so we can use number bonds to help us figure out this because we know that any number over itself equals 1. So how many eighths? Since we're using eighths, let's convert to eighths because then they have the same denominator. We can compare them. How many eighths are in a whole? Well, that would be 8/8. And how many do we have remaining? 0. We don't have anything left. That's all of our whole is 8/8. So now we can just take our numbers and subtract. So 8/8 minus 3/8 equals, and then remember when we're adding and subtracting, our denominator stays the same. And then we can just subtract our numerator. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So the answer to this problem would be 5/8. Okay. One more when we have a number other than 1 here. So here, hopefully it hasn't been too confusing when I keep skipping down. All right, so let's say we're given this problem. So we have 1 whole and then 1/5 minus 2/5. Okay, so for this one, we can again use a number bond to help us. So we can write our 1 and 1/5 and do a number bond. So remember, a whole is how many fifths? There are 5 fifths in a whole. And then we have this 1/5 remaining. So then we can go ahead and we can add these numbers together or draw a tape diagram. Okay, so I'm just going to say, let's say, here's my whole. Okay, so I'm doing fifths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason I had this one is because I know I needed to add this other piece to it. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 make up 1 whole. So we have this extra guy representing this fifth. Okay, so once I have my tape diagram, Then I can subtract, right? I'm subtracting 2/5. So all I have to do is cross out 2 of these and figure out what I'm left with. This is what I'm left with, and this is my answer. So if I count up, I know that my whole was in fifths, so that's always going to be our denominator. Then how many do I have remaining? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are left, so 4/5 would be the answer to what this equals. Okay. If I wanted to subtract, I mean, I could just add these together to get 6/5 and then subtract from 2/5 to get that same answer. All right. Let me actually here, I'll just come up here. Sorry, I should have planned a little bit better. We'll just come up and do it in the top corner up here. All right, so one more, and then I'm going to give you some homework. So 1 1/4 minus 3/4. Notice our denominators the same. Right now, that's what we're going to be focusing on. Eventually, we'll get to some that don't have common denominators. All right, so again, how many fourths make up this whole? Well, 4, right? 4/4. We also have our 1/4. So then again, we can add these together to equal 5/4. And then we can go ahead and subtract 5/4 minus 3/4, right? And we can easily see, 5 minus 3 is 2. 2/4 would be our answer here. I'll show you on the tape diagram just one more time. So again, there are 4 pieces in a whole, right? As this tells us right here. So let's make some fourths. And then I do see that I have a 4th left, so I need to add on an extra 4th. Remember that this right here is 1 whole, so this is our extra 4th. All right, and then I'm subtracting by 3/4, so 1, 2, 3 are gone, and I'm left with my 2/4 right there. All right, so for homework, I'm going to give you just one problem to try on your own. All right, so, and I want you to solve using the tape diagram and the number sentence. All right, so let's say that you have 1 2/7, and you are subtracting 5/7 from that. What would that equal? All right, I'll make a flip grid for you to show me your answers. So just write it out, show me the tape diagram and the number sentence, and we'll be all set. All right, guys, see you next time.